Hello, I'm Dennis Fidzikowski of the Michigan Wildlife Conservancy. In July of 2004, the Michigan Wildlife Conservancy released a video taken by Mrs. Carol Stokes showing two cats walking a tree line in Monroe County on April 24, 2004. The Conservancy's initial analysis of the home video supported Mrs. Stokes' belief that the cats were cougars. This led the Conservancy to subsequently make 4 visits to the site to measure objects seen in the video and to collect physical evidence. On one such trip, Conservancy biologist Dr. Patrick Ruzz was accompanied by an MD&R wildlife biologist from Lansing. Further analysis by the Conservancy supported Mrs. Stokes' conclusion that the cats were indeed cougars. However, some critics of a Michigan cougar population have called them house cats. Meanwhile, the Conservancy utilized the services of a professional video production company to review the tape for authenticity and to establish scale so that the cats could be measured. Bob Bishop of Future Media Corporation studied the tape, established a method to measure the cats, and concluded, as we did, that the cats were approximately 6 feet in length. He has not visited the site.
I'm Bob Bishop, president of Future Media. I've been in the film and video business for 36 years. I've used video forensic techniques on many assignments to help resolve a problem or to help solve a crime, including murder. I analyzed the Carol Stokes video in the same manner as I would a surveillance video of a crime scene or document a defective manufacturing process. Firstly, the Carol Stokes video was what it purported to be. In this case, a woman grabbed her family's outmoded camera and recorded some large, unknown animals she noticed near the neighborhood woodlot. In fact, listen to what she said while she made that recording.
Are they dogs or coyotes? Look like lions.
Mrs. Stokes shot the video from a distance of several hundred yards without the use of a tripod, making for relatively unstable or fuzzy video. No surprises there. And her compact VHS video camera has much lower resolution than most current models. Given the distance from the camera across the field to the cats, it's very doubtful that a house cat could have even been seen through the corn stalks. Each scene was time and date stamped by the camera's automatic internal clock, and she had not manipulated or changed the video in any way. My second challenge was to try to determine the relative size of the cats. Just as one might put an object of known size in a photograph to show the relative size of a fish catch, for example, I needed to find just such an object in all her scenes that would act as our common or known reference. There were several. But I chose a large tree that Mrs. Stokes had recorded in the cat scene and in earlier deer footage. I then asked Mrs. Stokes to videotape her husband's full height and weight and send him to the location near the tree, and to videotape him there with the same camera and from the same position she'd used before. This is a very viable measurement technique when all the elements are in relative agreement. The subjects are in the same proximity to an object of known size. The camera's focal length is approximately the same, especially when at the end of a telephoto range of a simple camera like this, and when the recording modes and practices are the same, which they all are. On a digital editing computer, then, I overlaid and sandwiched those 3 common scenes: the tree and the deer, the tree and the cat, and the tree and the man. All 3 scenes were shot at slightly different focal lengths near the end of the camera's telephoto range, so I selected the tree-deer scene as our constant, and I normalized the other 2 by enlarging or reducing the focal lengths until the tree was the same size in all 3 scenes. I was now able to use what's called split-screen imaging, where I placed 3 different still video frames side by side to compare a known image size, the nearly 6-foot-tall, 200-pound man, to 2 relatively unknown image sizes, the deer and the lead cat. Then, without changing the sizes of the 3 normalized subject images on the screen, I simply peeled a layer off of 2 of them and aligned them in a vertical stack like cordwood. You've now seen the simple but exacting methods I use to solve this relative size question. The same techniques I use in producing corporate videos, news reports, and episodes of forensic investigation shows on network television. This physical comparison is unequivocal proof that the 3 mammals are relatively the same size, and that the 2 Monroe County cats simply could not have been house cats, as we commonly know them. Period.
When we released the findings of the Conservancy and Future Media Corporation last summer, the Michigan Department of Natural Resources was quick to criticize the video, calling the Cougars house cats, and suggesting the video was trick photography or an optical illusion. The Conservancy was taunted by critics to have the video analyzed by a forensics expert, whose expertise could not be questioned. We asked David G. Townsend, Detective Lieutenant and retired unit commander with the Michigan State Police Crime Lab in East Lansing, who is a crime scene investigator and forensics expert, to critique the work of Future Media and to provide us with his best estimate of the size of the cats in the Stokes video. In his last 20 years with the state police, Townsend was a forensics expert in the State Police Crime Lab, which required him to process and analyze crime scene evidence and to photograph and reconstruct crime scenes. Since 1969, Townsend has worked in forensic photography and crime scene photography, which included photomicrography. He has attended forensic photography courses at the FBI Academy, Kodak Law Enforcement photography workshops, and state police photographic seminars. Townsend has developed and taught several courses at the university level in forensic sciences. His articles have been published in the Journal of Forensic Science and the FBI Law Enforcement Bulletin. Townsend has 2 degrees in criminal justice from Michigan State University. After retiring from Michigan State Police, Townsend founded an international consultancy called Forensic Examination Service. He has served as an expert witness in photography, crime scene investigation, crime scene processing, and crime scene reconstruction in several state and federal courts. And on December 8, 2004, Townsend appeared as a forensic demonstration expert on The Early Show on CBS.
Everybody knows this will kill you or severely injure you, but they don't realize that with the air rifle.
Hi, I'm Dave Townsend, and I examined the Carol Stokes video extensively prior to visiting the site in Monroe County on Sunday, November 7th, 2004. At that time, I met Carol and John Stokes at their home and spent 4.5 hours photographing, measuring, conducting tests, and video recording the site's characteristics. I used 2 methods to measure the distance from Mrs. Stokes' camera position to the large tree the lead cat walked in front of. First, I used a Bushnell Laser Lightspeed 400 rangefinder, which has a margin of error of plus or minus 3 feet at 1,200 feet. Second, using a tape measure, 100 foot long, I measured from the position of Mrs. Stokes' camera to the tree, placing a 20-inch tall construction cone every 100 feet. Using both methods, I determined the distance from the Stokes video camera to the tree to be about 1,038 feet or 346 yards, the approximate length of 3½ football fields. Next, the tree common to all 3 videos was determined to be a cottonwood, measuring approximately 15½ to 15¾ inches in diameter, 30 inches off the ground. For my examination of the video and measurements of the site, I determined the lead cat walked about 5 feet in front of this tree. I then calculated the size of the cats in the video based on the known diameter of the tree. The lead cat measured between 70 and 74 inches in length and was approximately 31 inches tall at the shoulder. The second cat was approximately 70 inches long and was about 23 to 27 inches at the shoulder. Lastly, I measured Carol Stokes' house cat Goldie and found her to be about 26 inches long, 12½ inches high, and weighing 10 pounds. I videotaped John Stokes carrying Goldie near the cottonwood tree, where he placed her on the ground. Goldie was barely visible from the Stokes camera set at 10x magnification and recording from the same location as the April 24th video. When placed on the ground, Goldie nearly disappeared behind the young winter wheat that measured 4 to 6 inches tall. The April 24th video showed a picked cornfield. Goldie would not have been visible behind the corn stalks that were more than twice the height of the winter wheat. Based on my examination of the scene and my own measurements and testing, I conclude the methods used by future media to establish scale in the video are accurate, and I agree with their findings. Upon conclusion of my examinations, measurements, and tests at the scene, I do not doubt Mrs. Stokes' account of the events, nor do I question the authenticity of the video she recorded on April 24th, 2004. Any objective person with common sense would realize the cats shown in the Stokes video are not house cats.
I'm Carol Stokes, S-T-O-K-E-S. I took the video of the cougars back in the woods. I have videoed deer, coyote, fox. Have never seen anything like this before. They were definitely large. Definitely feline looking. This is approximately where I was when I took the video. They were not dogs. They were not regular household cats. They were definitely cougars.
The Michigan Wildlife Conservancy has utilized the services of video and forensics expert firms. They have both corroborated the findings of Carol Stokes and the Conservancy. Furthermore, the lead cougar still frame shows its tail and head bent away from the camera, facing the woodlot. If it had been photographed perpendicular to the camera, the cat would obviously be longer than it appears here. Nonetheless, when we superimpose the 15.5-inch diameter tree behind the lead cougar several times, you see the cat would be 6 feet long, proving the work of our experts. Now, we'll turn the cottonwood tree on its side so you can get an idea of the height of the cougar. Remember, the tree is 15.5 inches in width, 30 inches above the ground. As you can see, the lead cat is twice as tall as the tree is wide, approximately 2.5 feet tall, in fact. You saw Goldie, a typical house cat. She was just 1 foot tall at the shoulder. So, it became a certainty on April 24th, 2004, that 2 cougars walked along a tree line in western Monroe County. For the first time in Michigan, 2 cougars were photographed together. The Conservancy believes these cats represent a mother and nearly grown cub, proof of a breeding population. Further, based on his extensive experience with cougars, we asked Dr. Jim Sikarsky, probably the Michigan person with the most cougar experience, for his opinion of the cats in the Stokes video. Dr. Sikarsky is a professor of veterinary medicine at Michigan State University Vet School and a specialist in wildlife medicine and wildlife rehabilitation. Over the past 25 years, he